Can you retire as a single person with $125,000 in savings or even $250,000 in savings? We're going to cover that through this video. We did a similar video last week on a couple retiring with $250,000, how it's possible, how you draw money out, and the number one comment, and I read the comments because I'm a person of the people, many, like hundreds of you asked about, can you create this same scenario for a single person? So that's what I'm going to do. I'll show you the software here in a second. But I created two options. Option one, which I'll run through, is retiring with $125,000. So same scenario as last week, but just one person versus two. $75,000 in RSP, $50,000 in the tax-free savings account. The second scenario I'll go through is someone with $250,000. So $200,000 in the RSP, $50,000 in the TFSA. We'll look at CPP timing a little bit, RSP meltdown, but how much income could you actually draw? And could it be feasible for you to retire with that amount of money? That's really what we're trying to figure out. So the first scenario is someone, again, with $75,000 in their RRSP, $50,000 in TFSA. As we go back to the planning page, I've left CPP and old age security at 65. This person is 65, and we put life expectancy to 90. We have inflation rate of 2.5%, and you can see the rate of return of 5%. Now, I know there's lots of numbers on the screen here, but what we want to look at is government benefits. You can see starting at 65. We have taxable income, total tax payable, marginal tax rate, and effective tax rate. So marginal tax rate is how much tax you pay on the next dollar that you earn. Your effective tax rate is essentially your average tax rate. So based on all the income I'm earning and how much tax I'm paying, what is the average rate of tax I'm paying on every dollar that I earn or that I collect? We then have financial assets. So the value, that's the value at the end of the year. You have contributions or withdrawals, so we have money coming out, and the rate of return. So we have that for the RSP and the TFSA. We then have net worth. I haven't run property for this person. Again, you may have similar situation with assets, but you also have property. Left the property out here, but you can see net worth, estate before tax, and tax on estate. So nice little breakdown. So as you go through this, you could grab any year, pick your estate, you can pick your total tax bill, your average tax rate. There's a lot of information, good information, as you build a retirement plan. But as you can see here, in this scenario, we have a real income, so an after-tax in their pocket adjusted to inflation income of $27,218. You have a real income, which means an adjusted to inflation income, and then you have the nominal income, and that is the dollar amount that you will actually collect in your pocket that year. So if I fast forward to age 70, you'll see that they'll have $30,795 in their pocket, but that's equivalent to $27,218 in 2024 dollars. Again, as we know, everything's getting more expensive every year. We want to keep up our buying power. So even though the real number stays constant, the actual dollar amount in the pocket is a little bit different. Now, the other thing I do want to highlight here is government benefits. Obviously, everyone's government benefits, the amount will be different depending on how much you paid in, or for OAS, how long you were in Canada. So I've left this at 75%. So again, single person building up some assets. I've left them at 75%, and they were in Canada their whole life, so old age security is at 100%. Let's look at the same scenario quickly on if we delay CPP to 70. Again, they don't have a lot of income, so how do we kind of massage things to make sure that they get as much as possible? And so if we delay income till 70, you'll see here, so same 75%, but delaying, they're going to get an increased benefit amount. And what I've done is, because we've delayed that CPP, we're going to have 5 years of no CPP. So let's replace that income by drawing down the RSP a bit more aggressively and eliminating that essentially by the time they start collecting CPP. It levels out their tax rate a little bit, but you can see the net result is their real income is $28,500, which is almost $1,300 more per year after tax in their pocket. Now, that may not seem like a large amount of money, but when all the income you have is $27,000 to $28,000, an extra $1,200, $1,300 a year is actually a substantial amount of money for these people. So if this is you, if you're saying, yeah, Adam, this is kind of my life and I'm going to have about $27,000. If I could get to $28,500, like that's an extra $100 a month. That pays for half my groceries. It gives me a little, one little trip a year, whatever it is. At the end of the day, we haven't added more assets to your bucket. We've just reallocated where we're taking money from. So just by doing better planning, we've added $1,200, almost $1,300 after tax every year for the rest of your life. The second scenario, looking at $250,000 of retirement income, again, $50,000 TFSA, $200,000 in the RSP, you'll see here that the total income is about $32,603 every year all the way to age 90. Now, again, can we bump this up by looking at CPP timing and a bit of an RSP meltdown in the meantime to just help create a bit more strategy? Can we put more money in their pocket? Obviously, $250,000 is a great amount saved. That's a massive amount that someone saved. How do we maximize it in retirement for the last 25 years of their life? So as you can see, we bumped the CPP down to 70 again. You get that same $19,195 for the CPP starting at age 70. And the RRSP, so again, convert it to RIF, start drawing it out. While they're not collecting CPP, we've run it at $26,000 a year and then scaled it back to $8,000 a year, and it runs out late 80s. So it's a good way to do it. It runs out by the time they pass away based on 90 life expectancy. You could do a little bit more earlier to try and empty it out maybe a couple years earlier. Again, you can kind of figure that out in your 80s while you're there, but you want to empty the most amount out early, level out that tax bill. You can see the effective tax rate or the average tax rate pretty close to 5%, within 1% there, right through retirement, which is what we're looking to do. That's how you know you have a really good tax plan in retirement. So again, as we've bumped up the RSP withdrawals early, delayed the CPP, you can see the income's jumped up to just shy of $34,000 a year. Again, it's not a massive amount of income, but it's almost $3,000 a month after tax. A lot of you could live on that in retirement. It's very doable. So there you have it. So that's a really good strategy. It's about $1,350 every month additional just by timing your CPP and your RSPs a little bit differently. Now, you could take it one step further and say, well, can we ladder this? You know, maybe we bump it up to about $38,000, 32, 28. Again, I want to make sure you have enough later on, but you could probably ladder this a little bit. Now, the last thing I want to look at is how much total extra money you're going to collect on a strategy like this. Because you might be sitting there saying, Adam, $1,200, $1,300 a year, like who cares? It doesn't matter. But if this is your situation, it actually does matter. Every single dollar matters. If you're walking into retirement, it's stressful, you're worried about money, you're not sure if you have enough, don't you want to get every single dollar that you can? And trust me, these small amounts, again, that's $1,350 adjusted to inflation every year for 25 years. So what does that equate to over your retirement lifespan? So this is one of the numbers that will always run for clients. It's that nominal number. How much extra will you actually collect in your pocket after tax every year? And you'll see in that first scenario, before we made the adjustments, the total tax, so the nominal amount, which is the actual dollar amount they're going to have in their pocket for spending every year, is $1,174,000.91. Now, if we look at this bump scenario where we delayed CPP, took RSP, it was $1,300 a month, but it equates to $1,222,708. So while the $1,350 may not seem like a big number, this client just added close to $50,000 of real money in their pocket through retirement. That's cash in their pocket to spend, to pay the bills, to travel, to do whatever they need to. So never underestimate these small changes. And again, you might think $1,000, it's not worth it. But $1,000 over 25 years, adjusted to inflation, would you want an extra $48,600 in your pocket? I would. I think you should too.